Hi collective. Some things I got while preparing for this reading is that you may need to clear your energy. I may end up crying in this video today because I'm working through some very heavy energies. I took a Reiki course on the 1st, which was also a full moon. Which is like a lot of like release energy. Also, while I was saging, it like got dark for a minute. And it's early in the morning. Well, it's not that early. It's like 9 something, almost 10. But the minute after I was done saging, the light kind of like got brighter. So maybe a call to like sage and cleanse your energy right now. Back to what I was saying about like after I got my attunement, I feel like I've been like purging through some very like difficult and uncomfortable emotions. And you could be feeling this right now as well. I was just really called to share like my state of mind right now and where I'm at. And I've been avoiding it because it's not emotions that I'm comfortable with dealing with. I just feel like the last, I don't know, like couple weeks, like dealing with like a lot of feelings of comparison and like realizing that like 90% of my worth I pull from what I do and what I offer versus like who I am, and really struggling with like how to love and accept myself when I'm not doing something, and like what that looks like the question constantly being like who am I, and like what worth do I have like in a relationship or any other way, like if I'm not doing something, if I'm not like supporting someone, or if I'm not like constantly like trying to help them fix themselves. And also just, working so hard on this journey. And like I said, I think that's why I'm so resistant to the word work lately, because there's still a certain amount of doing there. I feel like just being on this journey for the amount of time that I have and putting so much focused effort into everything that I do and the way that I show up, and kind of just being in this liminal space where I have to really just be. And it's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult. But also, like I said, the whole not comparing your journey to someone else's, and constantly like checking my ego. I'm constantly like, there's nothing that you can tell me about myself that I don't already know, that I haven't already critiqued, that I haven't already like picked up and evaluated that it needs to like change in some way. And it's so difficult because we want to grow and we want to evolve, but at the same time, like a large part of evolving in this sort of spiritual journey is a certain level of acceptance. And acceptance is so incredibly difficult when it comes to, when it comes to accepting yourself. But a lot of the times when you don't accept yourself, it's hard for you to accept other people and where they're at. And I think that that's like what I'm realizing too. This is also an energy that I feel like I've like tried to work very hard on, and I think again that work word is part of the issue. I need to like accept and let it flow, but there's a part of me that's like, I don't feel like that's right. I don't feel like that's conducive to like your higher timeline and this person that you're trying to step into. So you need to fix it. You need to fix it. You need to fix it. But I'm really called to like stop trying to fix it and allow it to flow. But it's so deeply uncomfortable that I keep like trying to run away from it. I had wrote like half a journal entry and just stopped and started doing something else. And then I felt the emotions start to flow when I was, standing in the bathroom. And then I decided, like, oh, I was going to go and check my schedule. And I just had to keep, like, spirit just kept telling me, like, you keep trying to do stuff. You keep trying to move around and, like, avoid these feelings in whatever way because they're uncomfortable and you deem them as, like, wrong or unworthy to the other emotions that you have, and that is why they continue to like keep riding you. So I don't know, I feel like that was significant to share. We're gonna do a very like loose, flowy, generalized reading today. Just what you need to hear, what Spirit wants you to hear right now, what a Spirit wants you to know right now. I'm drawn to use my Quantum Tarot deck and my Connolly Tarot. And also this other new one that I just got that's an Oracle deck that I don't know the name of. It's super pretty. What is collective need to know? What is collective need to hear right now, Spirit? What does collective need to know? What does collective need to hear? I feel like even sharing that, I'm like, you know, this isn't valuable to them in any real way. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to, I'm doing my best to allow it to flow. Because all my life I've been to people what you can get from me versus just who I am. What does collective need to hear? What does collective need to know, Spirit? Got the Three of Wands. I'm getting like odd one out with this card. Like he's not in the middle, he's off to like the side. And I'm also drawn to how it's on the right side. I think we're open back into like this over encompassing thing of like right side is masculine, which is like a lot of give energy. Feminine is more like receive. I'm also drawn to the fact that it's a man. You could be a masculine in this reading, but I feel like for both women and men, it's important that we don't just feel like our only value is giving. And I think when it comes to both genders, I think with men there's an expectation that like that's the only thing that they do is like give. But the only way to create a balanced person is to have both of those energies in alignment, right? So whether you're a woman or a man, I feel like this over encompassing thing of kind of what I just talked about of only feeling like your value kind of comes from giving. And I feel like with this being the Three of Wands, this could be around like your passions. You could have something that you're very passionate about, but you wonder like what value it's going to bring instead of creating it simply for it to be created. Like if you make a painting, you know, your thought could be, you know, as you're making and constructing this painting, like what are people going to get from this? Like, how is this going to affect someone, instead of just painting for the joy of painting, instead of just painting from this flow state of just letting it be this expression of who you are and letting people interpret it in whatever way that they choose to interpret it, even if they interpret it as just being beautiful for what it is. I feel like this being around your creativity could sometimes give you blocks or could give you this large fear of putting what you create out there. This could even be if you make content. You know, you could constantly have this feeling with your videos of like, feeling like you have a lot of stuff in your drafts where you feel like this isn't valuable or this isn't valuable or people aren't going to get anything from this, or, you know, even if it's just a video of you just being you. I don't think we understand like the full value of that people can receive just a lot of joy by just showing up, watching a person be authentically themselves. I feel like we're in this age right now where it's like people are craving to be and hear authentic people. They're craving to hear the people with no filters that show up as they are without any need to perform or be anybody other than who they are. That is the level that I feel like we're currently at, just a certain level of just, I don't know, just being authentic, being more accepted. Um, yeah, I feel like this energy of just putting yourself out there and letting it be. The over-encompassing theme of this entire reading is about being. It's not about doing. We're all mirrors to each other to a certain extent. If we're aligned with each other, there's something within our energies that may, you know, kind of find a home within each other. We got the Eight of Pentacles. You feel like you've lost a lot. I believe this is like a galaxy, but I've seen it as like a black hole and like the pentacles being sucked into it. You could feel like, yeah, you could feel like you've lost a lot. But a lot of what you've lost is what you've given away, is what I'm hearing. Because that's the difficult thing about being a giver, is that there's an ego aspect of it to being nice that is about drawing your feelings of worthiness from what you do for other people. And I speak about this because I experienced this a lot. As are most things that I feel like I speak about within my reading and I really resonate with, is because it's like also feelings on some level that I can understand, like on a deep level. And I feel like I just feel like, and now I'm getting the reverse energy that is coming out of the black hole, that whatever you feel like you've lost, whatever you've given up, is like coming back to you tenfold. What is it called? Is it like the law of equivalent exchange? Look that up. I'm not 100% what that is, but that just came into my head. And I just feel like it might have something to do with like the energy that you give out is bound to come back to you. But it could have felt like a loss when you were giving it away. But when you get it back, you're going to realize how much you were giving away. How much it was feeding the souls of other people. How much it was lighting them up. How much you were bringing light to their darkness. I feel like we're kind of clearing in energy as I go through this reading. I'm getting a lot more clarity. And then we got 787 countdown energy. And you're going to step into this more empowered energy right now is what I see. I just noticed like looking from it from a reflection. So really he's like, this person, this being is like holding something. But what I've seen as well is like two hands kind of connected, and this being another person. I feel like this is a deeper connection with your higher self. That's what this purging, this transitioning, this realization is causing you to have, is that, you know, that this illusion of time, while you're trying to be this highest version of yourself, you already are this highest version of yourself. It's just about tapping into the energy more, right? It's already in you. Your higher self is not someone that you put on a pedestal, because they're already in you. I'm also drawn to how all of these have like different colors, and it reminds me of like our chakra system, and how maybe do like some focused work on healing your chakras, getting your chakras into alignment, listening to some different frequencies, and like subliminals. I've been getting back into subliminals a lot lately to try to help me move through some of this energy, and that could help you as well. Is getting your chakra system in alignment. Why this card kind of reminds me of like Jesus. I'm gonna look up what the exact card this is, but something about like, just gives me very death and like rebirth sort of energy. I don't know, I feel like you're bringing light to these shadow sides of yourself. You're giving them the recognition that they deserve. You're giving them the acknowledgement that they deserve just as much as any other part of yourself. I just got lightheaded. Judgment. Yeah, symbolizes a profound awakening of the soul, a resurrection of awareness and understanding. What shift in consciousness have you experienced? This could, like I said, just be like like you're finally acknowledging the parts of you that you've suppressed, that you've shamed into kind of shamed yourself into believing that they are not worthy of being heard because they're deemed conventionally like negative, or you should stay away from them. Like I said, if it's feelings of like just deep sadness for the things that you've lost, and you're just like, you just don't want to acknowledge it because you just don't want to be sad, or you feel like you've put in so much work into yourself that it's like, it feels like an acknowledgement of these feelings is like a failure in some sort of way. It feels like a regression in some sort of way, but it's going back to these energies and trying to integrate them instead of hide them. That's going to bring you in higher contact with your higher self. That's really what's going to open up this third eye and crown chakra. But you sharing it with other people is going to be very healing to the world. And I'm also again drawn to this book that I'm reading right now with Mark Wolin. This could also be like the ancestral energy, like the familial energy, the energies that they didn't get to work through, that you've been gifted with this beautiful opportunity to work through, because it is a gift. It is a gift. It's not easy. It's not easy. Work through, flow through. But I watch my niece and the impact that, I don't want to say that I've had on her life, but I feel like showing her something different outside of the way that our family regularly shows up has allowed her, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I know watching other people live their life authentically and be who they are, and not have this tie to their family simply because they're blood related, that like you need to just let them run over you and just do whatever and it's okay, has given me the permission within my own life to realize like I can live like that too. I don't have to allow anybody to run over me simply because of who they are or what we share, as far as genetics or anything. That I can have self-respect. Also, like this, I spent the last year of my life like really being, really like the last 2 years. I got into a relationship in like September. But before that, I spent a lot of time by myself. And that was something that I feel like I had watched a lot of women that I like seen in videos just living this very like single and free life, and it just gave me this certain level of permission that I'm like, oh, I don't have to constantly be in a relationship. I don't have to be a serial monogamist. I can spend time by myself and be very happy doing that. And the minute that I started doing it is when it really healed the relationship with myself. And I feel like that's significant to share because it might be something that you need to do today. Even with Valentine's Day coming up, I'm still planning to have a day with just myself where I go and do what I want to do. Go to a restaurant, maybe go see a movie. I want to go to the art museum, and I'm going to plan that for Tuesday. And I'm gonna make sure that I follow through and do that for myself, because especially doing this right now, I feel like that could be important for you. You keep depriving yourself of the things and the opportunities that you want because, again, you feel like you need to be a particular version of you in order before you start having fun, before you start giving to yourself, before you start loving yourself in the way that you're waiting for someone else to love you. And I feel like you loving yourself in that way is what's going to draw in these experiences and these people that reflect that inner love within you. And this does not have to be perfect, because again, I am still in like this very, it feels like dense energy that I'm working through, and I'm working through it within a relationship, even though I don't feel like I'm showing up the best way at this particular moment in time. This is not something that you need to perfect before certain things come into your reality. Ace of Pentacles. This could be a new cycle for you. A new cycle for you as far as finances go, as far as abundance in general goes, abundance of beautiful experiences, abundance of love. Confirmation perk. A reset of your solar plexus. A reset of this solar plexus energy. We've gotten a lot of yellow lately. When I did my Reiki on myself this morning, I stayed on my solar plexus for quite some time. So some solar plexus healing. Knight of Swords. I just feel like this is like a victorious energy. Like I'm getting that political term of a dark horse, the person that comes from the, I guess like the person that doesn't look like they're gonna lose, that like they're gonna win, but they come from behind and kind of win the entire thing. And I see that like you and other people may have constantly counted yourself out as being the one that like wasn't gonna make it, wasn't gonna survive, wasn't gonna be successful. You could have just gone through very dense periods in your life and it just looked very bleak. You didn't see yourself getting to any point past that point. And you're going to be the one that comes up from behind and wins this battle that you've been fighting, but also this life that you feel like you've been fighting for. It is going to be yours. You already chose it before you got here. And you being on this journey and experiencing these emotions and feeling these things is divinely guided. It's going to bring you in alignment with that life. It's going to prepare you for the abundance of love, for the abundance of friendship, for the abundance of joy. It's all preparing you to be able to be a vessel that can hold all of that. We're getting the air element. I embrace the element of air and am open to all wisdom and knowledge. So just keeping your channel open. Like I said, being in that flowy sort of energy, that flow state energy, is going to help you a lot right now. Not too much resistance, or it's going to keep you blocked. I'm sorry, my timer went off, but that's the end of this reading. I send you guys off with all the love in the world. Have a good day. Bye.